Morning, everyone, and welcome to day two of the fifth annual Tri-State Apex Accelerator Mega Matchmaker. I'm Joey Scott. I'm the statewide program manager in Ohio and one of the participants of the planning committee here that is bringing you this wonderful event. I just wanted to say a few words before we get into our keynote, just to welcome everyone and really kick off today. As you've heard yesterday and today, this is the fifth year of doing this event, and it really started with the idea of trying to bridge those gaps and make it easier. Not everyone can always travel, especially, 5 years ago during the pandemic, it was very difficult to meet in person, face to face, which really was the impetus for creating this event. And so, Ohio, New York, and Pennsylvania, and our Native American Apex Accelerators all got together to say, how can we bring the most value to our clients and keep facilitating these relationships and these conversations? And that led to this virtual mega matchmaker. And so it's been growing year after year. We're really excited that you all are joining us this year as well. Hopefully, you've had some amazing one-on-one matchmaking sessions yesterday, and or you were able to listen to some of the many, many webinars that we had yesterday. Today, we expect to be just as exciting, full of matchmaking and webinars. So before we kind of kick things off here today, I really want to thank everyone involved. So first off, all of you, our small businesses. We have over 700 small businesses participating in this event. That's why it's called a mega matchmaker. We try to have as much impact as possible. Also want to thank our agency buyers. Without you, a lot of this, conversations would not be happening. So thank you for your participation in this event as well. And our large primes, thank you. You're always trying to diversify and build out your industrial base as well. So without you, again, these conversations would not be happening. So thank you to all of you. Thank you to all of our speakers too. We've had some wonderful speakers yesterday from Mr. Dave Busigo from Department of Defense Office of Small Business Programs, Colonel Victoria Nemmers from Air Force Contracting, to our Air Force Materiel Command Small Business Directors, which started yesterday with a wonderful panel, to some folks from DLA. We have both land and maritime and aviation, so we split them out between the days. We also had some Manufacturing Innovation Institute representation from my home area down at America Makes in Youngstown, Ohio. And then, we heard again from the RISE program, and today we're going to hear a lot of great information as well. So thank you to all of our speakers. And thank you to our Tri-State Apex Accelerator Mega Matchmaker Planning Committee. So Ms. Robin Rowan from the Northwest Commission Apex Accelerator, her and Ms. Anna Filet Fitzsimmons, who is from New York Apex Accelerator. Both of them, they were the brains behind the creation of this event. Truly. And so thank you to both of them for having the vision to create this event and the strength and determination to keep it going. And also, for collaborating with a lot of our fellow Apex Accelerator folks, including myself and Mr. James Garrity from the Southern Alleghenies Apex. He was responsible for bringing together all the facilitators you see in each session, and then I'm running the behind the scenes for the Zoom. And also, thank you to the entire committee of all of the Apex Accelerator program managers, counselors, everyone involved in the creation of this event. There's a lot of behind the scenes work all throughout the year to get this thing up and running. So thank you from marketing to recruiting to you name it. We've done it. So thank you to everyone on that team. with that, I think that's all of the thank yous I really wanted to mention this morning. And if I forgot anyone, I apologize. It is a very worthwhile event, very large event, and there's a lot of hard work, sweat, and tears that goes into creating this. So thank you to everybody. Um, One quick reminder. So all of the presentations yesterday, all of the presentations today. If there are slides that we can share, we will do so. Every session is recorded. We will process those recordings, and then we will get those slides and presentations posted to the event page. That'll take us a little while, so please bear with us. But once everything is uploaded, we will get a notice out to all of the attendees to let you know that you can go in and access them. So fear not, everything is being recorded, and those will be made available for you at a later date. At the conclusion of today, so within the next few days, you can expect to receive a couple of things in addition to that notice. One is a survey. We really appreciate your feedback on this event, and we utilize that to keep it going and make it better year after year. Then you can also expect to receive some reports with contact information of who all was attending the event, as far as buyers and some of that directory information. Finally, I just want to comment on the event itself. Each year, we try to have a theme. And if you hadn't noticed yet, this year's theme was Department of Air Force. And so we are very honored and grateful to be able to have some key personnel with us both days. Like I mentioned, we had Colonel Victoria Nemmers yesterday providing a keynote speech, and today we will have Mr. Mike McWilliams providing today's keynote speech, but I will let Anna introduce him in just a few minutes. Before I turn it over to her, though, I just wanted to highlight that we have been growing and working collaboratively with Department of Air Force Small Business for many years, and a lot of that has been Jeff Malott and his team out of Air Force Material Command, coming to our NAPEX National Apex Accelerator conferences and developing those relationships with Apex accelerators all across the nation. And so, that concerted effort is really blossoming over the years, and we look to the future to grow that relationship in any form it may take, and just so grateful for the support and collaboration from Jeff and his team and from Department of Air Force overall. So with that said, Anna, I would like to turn it over to you. So please take it away.
Good morning, Joey. Thank you so very much. And I want to piggyback on the wonderful work that we've done with Jeff over the years. And a big thank you to Mr. Jeff Malott, his team, the Air Force, for helping us and supporting our outreach and us working together to kind of close the loop on that ecosystem. So we're very excited about this year's program. And I'd like to thank all of our Air Force participants that have helped support this event, other numerous events throughout the year. So thank you very much. Now it's my honor to introduce Mr. Mike McWilliams, who's the Deputy Director for the Department of the Air Force, Office of Small Business Programs. Mr. McWilliams has over 40 years experience in various acquisition positions, active duty military and civilian federal service. He's currently serving as the Deputy Director, as I mentioned, of OSBP, providing program oversight for all small business outreach programs, including the Service Disabled Vet Program, Hub Zone, the WOSB, 8A, in addition to the University Minority Institution programs, Air Force Small Business Resource Manager, and Air Force Small Business Office of Strategic Resource Planning. He's overseeing the Acquisition Program Manager, or he was the Acquisition Program Manager for the Air Force's Small Business Programs, coordinating with Program Executive Offices, the PEOs. And if you were on the call yesterday, Jeff and team were highlighting the PEOs. And Air Force and major commands to ensure small business participation is maximized. And good morning, Mr. McWilliams. I've got to say the Air Force has it going on when it comes to small business outreach. So thank you so much for joining us. We truly appreciate your team. You guys are doing some great work. So with that said, I'd like to turn it over to you.
Well, thank you. First of all, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, thank you. Sounds like just listening to the introduction and earlier to Mr. Scott, sounds like I have a hard act to follow from yesterday. And shout out to Jeff and his team, particularly following Jeff a lot. They do some great things there. But thank you all for inviting us. On behalf of Mr. Scott Kaiser, our director, I'm sitting in for him today because of a conflict he'd had. But I'm the deputy director, just recently took over this spot a matter of weeks. So I'm brand new in the spot. So bear with me. But brand new in this position up here in the Pentagon, working with our field units like Jeff Ballot and other directors out in the field. And again, on behalf of Mr. Scott Kaiser, our director, I want to thank the Apex Accelerated Mega Matchmaking event team for inviting us, Jeff and his team for helping facilitate this as well. And of course, to my own team for helping pull this together in coordination. I'd like to also start off, next slide, please. Thank you. Start off by talking a little bit about our mission, who we are. And I'm just going to give a brief presentation on who we are, particularly in the air and space domain, and then try to wrap it up with a few innovative things that we are working as well. Our primary mission, first of all, a little bit more on my background. I'm sure with the industry out there on the line, we may have crossed paths before. I've been with the office for a while, for almost 10 years now with the small business office. I came out of Joint Strike Fighter. One of the things, the emphasis on my background is that I'm a program manager. Most small business specialists or professionals, I'm sorry, and directors are generally contracting officers. We try to bring in a few program managers every once in a while, every now and then, to give a different perspective. I like to say, as a former program manager, I'm the one that a lot of industry, a lot of you are trying to get access to in terms of programs. I had a couple of programs. My last program was Joint Strike Fighter, where I was deputy director for logistics support products, from everything from pilot training to support equipment. So I will probably give a different perspective on how I see things with small business, and some of the emphasis that I make is from a program management perspective. Our Air Force mission, as you can see there on the slide, is about focusing the warfighter. And I like this slide because it focuses on our air, space, and cyberspace domain. Our office tries to facilitate innovation and agility and efficiency through the consideration of small businesses. And we do that by driving competition and trying to maximize small business participation. And then growing the industrial base. It's very important. As a program manager, I had a lot of experience working with the large primes. And by the way, hello to the large primes out there as well. I'm sorry. Just more focus on the small businesses, but welcome to the large primes. But I worked a lot with large primes and small businesses in Joint Strike Fighter F-35 program. That's where my interest in small business became even more so, because for my last year there, I worked a lot with the small businesses and the subcontracting organizations who were a lot of small businesses working that program and saw their potential. And that's what drove me to this program, to work even more so with the small businesses. American small businesses, as you know, I don't have probably to tell you, but you're the engine of our economy, the foundation of a healthy industrial base, and bring many vital products and services to the equation. And I don't think that we should take that lightly. Again, I've had a lot of experience over the years on my own programs, working with large and small businesses and seeing the potential of small businesses. Next slide, please. Okay, this is who we are. As you see, our director is Mr. Scott Kaiser. And again, I'm new in the seat here as the deputy director. And yes, I'm one of those, like to say that. Name is Joseph McWilliams, but I go by Mike. A lot of people will comment on that. But one thing I want to highlight, as you can see there, we're very small. We're about 17 small, we're about 17 personnel strong. 6 of those are contracted support, specialized in different areas for our team. If you notice up there, if you're looking at the slide on your right-hand side, we have our own legal counsel. We're one of the few organizations here at the Pentagon that have our own in-house legal counsel. And that just shows you a lot of the statutory and federal mandates that we operate under that warrants our own internal legal counsel. On the left-hand side, you'll see 2 names there, Mr. Paul Allridge and Yolanda Felder. Mr. Paul Allridge has been our space director for the last few years. He is getting ready to transition to retirement. Congratulations to him. And we are bringing on Miss Yolanda Felder, who will be our new space director. They're actually coming in this week. And she is coming from our acquisition community as well. Has a background in contract, a strong background in contracting, around contracting and acquisition community. So we're looking forward to her arrival. And if you look down the list there, we have a number of specialists that I've been working with over the years in terms of our policy, ciber mentor protege, and in terms of, and as well as our workforce. So that's who we are. We are created by law as a result of the Small Business Act. Mr. Kaiser is appointed by the Secretary of the Air Force, but reports directly to the Undersecretary through delegation from the Secretary of the Air Force. But most of the time, I can tell you when we're meeting either mostly with the Secretary and the Under collectively. Next slide, please. This chart, I don't expect you to read everything on this chart, but the intent here is to show you, if you're looking at this chart, because of the stand-up of space a few years ago, and then I was actively involved, as a matter of fact, led the team to stand up the small business aspect of space. This is one reason and how our office is now in charge of both air and space small business. So there's one office. And I want to emphasize that point. On the right-hand side are our space MAJCOMs, on the left-hand side are our Air Force MAJCOMs, and the check marks indicate where we have small business directors and small business presence. The faded areas just shows where we either have offices that are standing up, still standing up, or we're developing offices there. But the intent of this chart is just to give you an idea of the coverage. Now, what you see there is where we have small business officers and directors. Behind that is a team to include Jeff Malot's team, which you've heard a lot of his name, of 160 plus small business professionals out there. One thing, I will be repetitive. If you've crossed paths with me before, you've heard me say this before, and I will emphasize, I cannot emphasize, in addition to the Apex accelerators, your relationship with the small business professionals. Those two go hand in hand. Our office here, we just provide the policies and oversee the program for the Air Force, but these are the heavy lifters out there, Apex accelerators and the small business professionals making things happen. So there's 160 plus small business professionals, both air and space side. Take advantage of them. I will foot stomp those throughout this presentation in one way or another, but I can't emphasize that enough. Next chart, please. Another chart. This is what we do. Talk about who we are. This is what we do. Don't expect you to read this chart, and you will have access to these slides. And technically, we could take this chart. We just threw this up there to show you the roles and responsibilities that we, as the Air Force, the Department of the Air Force Small Business Office has. These are mandated roles and responsibilities that we have. I could almost take every bullet and go down another 2 or 3 layers in terms of the roles and responsibilities. When you hear, when I mentioned that in our organization chart that we are small, but we do a lot of big lifting for the small business community. That's the same with our field units. Our field units are also small, in some cases 1 deep. When you reach out to them, it may take a minute or 2 before you hear from them, but I encourage you to be persistent because they will respond. But we are a small office, but this is an example of the roles and responsibilities that we have. As a result of this, I had to develop what we call our workload matrix, just to get our arms around all the mandatory requirements that we have in order to execute this program, and particularly now for both air and space. Next slide, please. Another point to make, go over these slides, and as a result of the recent elections, obviously this slide and the next one you'll see are subject to updating here in the future. But the intent of this particular slide is to make the point that we are overseen by two committees of Congress, two areas of Congress. That's the Senate Committee on Small Business and Entrepreneurship. Next slide, please. And the House of Representatives Committee on Small Business. Again, these are all subject to update in January, but the whole point here was so that it shows you the importance of small business, where we're overseen by two committees in Congress. And one of the few, if I remember our attorney telling us, one of the few two-letter organizations in the Pentagon that is overseen by both sides of Congress. Next slide. Re-emphasize that point, although somewhat dated, you'll see there 22 March 2023. This office was called, that's Mr. Kaiser at the bottom there. This office was called up to the Senate Armed Services Committee to talk about what we were doing for small businesses. I was there with Mr. Kaiser, and we were answering questions to the chair. And the second picture down there is was the current OSD small business director. The Navy was there as well as the Army, and we were answering questions to the chair and to the committee on what we were doing for small business. Had a few tasks come out of there in terms of making commitments on what we were going to be doing for 8A and expanding our reach in terms of outreach. Next chart, please. All right, emphasis again on the unprecedented, as the chart says, the unprecedented emphasis on small business. These are the number of regulations, we like to call it a waterfall of regulations out there from the current executive orders, and we are standing by, based on the current elections, to see if either of those will expand or change, but this is what we do, and this is what we'll be looking for. But we have executive orders from the President of the United States. We have congressional mandates, as you'll see there, by law. Those are just a few listed there. Other agencies like the SBA, Small Business Agency, the Office of Management and Budget, who set our goaling for the different socioeconomic categories, and they also provide us guidance. And let me emphasize, while we're talking about the SBA, a lot of industry and other areas confuse our offices with the SBA. We are not the SBA. If you know that, that's fine. If you're not familiar with that, and again, this is the type of things that the Apex accelerators can help you with. We are separate from the SBA. We do not report to we provide reports to the SBA, but we are a separate agency from the Small Business Administration. Yes, these slides will be available. I just saw a comment there. So we are making these slides available. The DoD, also Department of Defense, has their small business offices that oversees the Army, Navy, DLA, and the Air Force small business programs. And they provide our acquisition strategy, equity action plans, and defense industrial based strategy that we adhere to in terms of increasing small business participation. And of course, under the Department of the Air Force, the last panel there, we have our own internal Air Force policies that we provide in terms of guidance and our programs and memos that we are working internally to further expand small business participation. Next slide. And just briefly, these were if you're not familiar with them, these were the executive orders we've been working under the last 4 or 5 years, and last 4 years. And again, we don't know if these will change or not. They may change, they may expand. We just don't know, of course. But this is what we have been currently working toward, and what our acquisition strategy has been based on. Whatever changes, there will be updates as applicable. Next slide. So how have we been doing? I asked the team to pull together at least the last 10 years. And if you look at each social and economic category there, we have been pretty consistent in growth. If you look at the bottom there in 2024 in green, in terms of growth, in terms of the dollar spent, with the exception of women-owned small business and Hub Zone. And although we've grown over the years, like the operative word there was consistency and growth. Women-owned small business and hub zone are areas where we want to become even more consistent in terms of our growth. That's an opportunity for those of you out there who fit in those categories to identify yourself, take advantage of what you're seeing here, and letting us know your capabilities, and particularly taking advantage of the matchmaking in your capabilities to meet our mission requirements, mission needs. Next chart. All right, eye chart here. Apologize for that, but the intent here is to show you the top 10 NAICS. Let's go ahead and go to the next chart as well. And the top 10 product service codes. You all should be very familiar with these. You will have access to these charts and you'll be able to see what these are, but they cover everything from R&D, construction, engineering, IT support. This is where I foot stomp, beat the table, do your homework, know who we are, know what our requirements are. And you can't go wrong here in terms of ensuring that you present yourself with the right capability statement to meet these needs. But these are the top 10. We update these as we go along each year, and I'll have the team update these. Anytime you want additional information, anytime you want additional information, you're welcome to contact our office or our website. And it's my plug for our website. We have a pretty good website out there. We got a pretty good public affairs director. He's actually on the meeting now, Mr. Lorenzo Perel. He redesigned and revamped our entire website to make sure that there's a ton of information out there for your access, to include our top 10 PSCs and our top 10 NAICS codes. Next chart. Okay, some of you out there are probably on the cutting edge of being our next Wright brothers, as the boss likes to say, and Silver Sitter, and we'd like to do business with you, of course, and Silver Sitter program, a small business innovative research or technology transition program, as a program of interest if you're interested in becoming that next cutting edge innovator. What I've asked the team to do is, you'll see there, and you'll see the dates 2024 to 2025. This is a schedule of the open topics solicitation that's going on right now for phase 2 silver contracts. So what we encourage you to do, and in our office, we have a silver sitter and MPP, which will be the next slide, but we have that point of contact in our office. However, if you see up there on the slide, we say for more information, visit theafworks.com. Visit the afworks.com website to get additional information on these open topics. But you're also welcome to contact our office as well, and we can put you in contact with the right PSC. But pay particular attention to that schedule over there. I had them update this schedule as early as this morning to make sure it was accurate. And there's some good opportunities out there. I highly encourage you to take advantage of. And these topics are truly open, and regardless of the industry or the problem area, because what we're seeking is innovative dual-use technology solutions, clear potential to solve Department of the Air Force mission needs, capability to prototype under an accelerated schedule, ability to scale and grow the industrial base, and apply the R&D efforts rather than front-end or basic research. So there's some good opportunity out there. Please ensure that you take advantage of those opportunities and take advantage of our website, our small business professionals like Jeff Malott and his team, but all those throughout the United States. And on our website, probably getting ahead of myself on another slide, we have Find a Small Business Professional tool out there, to where anywhere you want to find a small business professional, that tool will help you. Or contact our office, and Mr. Lorenzo Purnell will be out there to be there to help you. Next slide. MPP, I'll briefly touch on this, and I think a lot of you may be familiar with MPP, Mentor Protege program, but if you're not, it's a program that helps eligible small businesses expand their footprint in the defense industrial base. And and as you probably know and have already known, a lot of small businesses are partnering with the larger companies over the past 5 years in terms of expanding their footprint in the industrial base. A good program. I've had some experience with it when I was a program manager working with small businesses. You'll see down there, the contact is David Sikora. David's in our office. Dated myself again. I actually was one of the individuals that hired David when he first came in for our service center and mentor protege expertise. So that's where he specializes. You're welcome to contact him, take advantage of his email. Let him know to reach out to you if you have any interest in either MPP and Silver Sitter, although afterwards you probably can provide even additional information on the Silver Sitter program. Next chart. Okay, you've probably seen this before. Know your target market. A lot of you are already in business. I don't have to lecture you on how to do business, but one thing that I will emphasize is know your target market. These logos here represent our space and our Air Force in terms of who they are. And each of these are the MASCOM, and each MASCOM or PhilCom or direct reported unit sources their own small business programs. Again, this is why it's even more important that as you know the target market, either in space or air, that you get to know those small business professionals like Jeff Malott and his team, and across the United States, our space teams as well. Get to know them, build a relationship with them, reach out to them, talk to them. As a former program manager, and I've told contracting officers this, no slight to our contracting officers, some of you know when it comes to reaching out to contracting officers, there's going to be limited discussion there, and for good reason. I have to defend it for good reason. But taking advantage of our small business professionals will be a plus to you. They can help you or attempt to help you either get in the door or get access to various programs. And I'll talk about a little bit about that as we wrap up on some of the things that we're trying to do to help with that access. But again, and then as I said earlier, in addition to the Apex accelerators, they and the small business professionals are your front door into trying to get into doing business with the Air Force. Next chart. So just the 1, 2, 3s is what I like to call this chart on how to do business. Seems pretty straightforward, but you would not believe in the years I've been here how many times I have to emphasize what needs to be done here. Sorry, I keep seeing the notes here. You will, to everyone, you will have access to these charts, I believe, through the Apex Accelerator, or you can contact our office and you will have access to these charts. But these are the 1, 2, 3s of how to do business. Identify your product or service. This goes back to the product and service codes that we talked about earlier. Register your business through SAAMMM and prepare to market your businesses to the Department of the Air Force or Space. Where do you begin? Apex Accelerators. Let me repeat that. Where do you begin? Apex Accelerators. Because there are many times that I've talked to small businesses and a lot of questions that come up. And what I have done is we send them to the Apex Accelerators to help you become what we call procurement ready. So that once you're talking to either our office or our small business professionals in the field, they will, you will be ready. And then, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, and Apex Accelerators, correct me if I'm wrong, they have everything from templates to your capability statements to access to the things that we are looking for in terms of product service codes or NAICS codes. But they are your front door into becoming procurement ready for doing business with us. Okay. Review our website, another footstep for our website, particularly developed by Mr. Lorenzo Perel. Contact him anytime and locate the small business professionals. You see on there, I talked about that tool out there. I think that's a powerful tool. And by the way, if you're out there or you have gone out there, you see problems, let us know. I guarantee you, Mr. Purnell will fix it ASAP. We've had some feedback. Congress goes out there and look at it, and we've had questions and or comments from congressional members on our website, believe it or not. So take advantage of it, take a look at it, and then hopefully it provides you a lot of useful information. And then if you have any suggestions or want to see anything different, just let us know. Next chart. So wrap it up here. I just the next two charts is just a list of available resources that you can use. You have the SBA, their score, of course, and the small business development centers. And I think maybe most of you should be familiar with or will become familiar with. And then, of course, what stopped the Apex accelerators. Not just saying that because of the event I'm involved in here, but I have been working with Apex accelerators, even under the old name of PTAX, for a number of years. And they are what I have seen as the front door into becoming procurement ready. Next chart. Again, more information on how to contact us, and you will have access to those charts to access the reference codes there as well. And next chart. Okay, this is a chart our boss likes to end with. And he likes to tell the story of two brothers who owned a small business and essentially changed the world. And I don't have to tell you who that was, but of course, particularly the group coming out of Ohio, the Wright brothers. And like I said in Silver Center, I'm sure there's a lot of you sitting out there on the cutting edge and being the next Wright brothers. So we want to do business with you. So take advantage of everything that we have to offer here in terms of offering you the services that we offer, and to meet our warfighter needs, and the resources that we have out there in terms of Apex accelerators and small business professionals. Quote down there in the right-hand corner, you'll see from one of our directors on the film, said every program the Space RCO has experienced some level of cost, schedule, performance issues. Program manager cost performance schedule was ingrained in me, except for where the prime is a small business. It's a powerful quote. I was sitting actually here in the office when he said that, and we asked him to use it, and they allowed us to use it. But a lot of things have changed from my early days, and I had the same experience when I was on the F-35 program, and as I mentioned, that was one reason that drove me to, after I left that program, to work with small businesses because of the success we had with small businesses. Next slide. So kind of ramble on there, but I hope that was some useful information, just giving you a good overview of our Department of the Air Force program, which includes space. Take advantage of I'll emphasize again, our Apex accelerators, as well as our small business professionals, and ensuring that you are procurement ready. And that concludes my presentation. I'm standing by for questions.
Thank you so much, Mr. McWilliams. We greatly appreciate it. And I think Joey and I are going to start looking through the questions here. And I know there's one in the Q&A. You can put your questions in the Q&A right now, if that's okay. That'll make it easier to streamline. We do understand that there are some questions in the chat that we're going to go through. So let's see. We have a question. Joey, I don't know if you want to handle the Q&A at this point, and I can search through the web chat.
If you can I'll read off the Q&A. So first question here, do you contract for in-service educational courses that focus on leadership, team building, teamwork, communication at work between generations, financial wellness, etc.?
You know, that's in my matchmaking, the short answer is yes, but it's unique. Okay. In my before taking this position, a lot of matchmaking, I've run across several companies who provide those type of services. And what we have done is routed them to our different small business professionals who specialize in those areas, like through DAU, Defense Acquisition University, and I heard financial services, or through our FM community. So the short answer is yes. It's they're very unique fields that I have to acknowledge that there might be some competition in terms of because it is so small. It's not like building aircraft parts, but I have seen it done. I know there are companies there now that are doing it. You just have to compete for it. And by the way, let me compete for it. Watch who's providing those services and look for opportunities for expiring contracts. Let me emphasize that that's something we put on our website in terms of a forecast, and we don't use the term forecast. We call it business opportunities. My team puts out a list of expiring contracts. It's an update list every quarter. Our data specialist goes through this list, and we go out to the field. And I keep mentioning Jeff Malott, two members like Jeff Malott and his team, and other small business directors. We find out what contracts are expiring. We put those up on our website, and then, like I like to say, then the ball's in your court. You go through them. You may find services like that that are out there and find out that the contract is expiring, and it might be an opportunity to compete.
And I'll turn it over to you for chat questions.
Sure. So there's a question regarding, does the Air Force require architectural service? And if so, which group should they contact? Maybe that's a little in the weeds and something we can certainly, as an Apex, help drill through, but Mr. McWilliams.
Well, no, I would agree with that. And yeah, it's a little bit detailed, something of that nature. Again, another specialty area. I'm looking at the construction area as well. Okay. And we, as well as your office, can help point them in the right direction to the right small business professionals.
Excellent. And there was, let's see, some more detailed questions about CIBR and open topics and identifying a technical contact for some of the questions regarding open topics. And I do want to say that not our next session, but the following, the third session of the day, is going to be a DoD CIBR panel discussion, and we will have AFWorks will be on that panel.
Okay, because I was going to go back to probably best to go to AFWorks like that.
Yep.
But look, I did open the door to Dave Sikora. If you saw on the mentor protege slide, is a POC. He can answer questions, but the actual execution is done by AFWorks and under our SAF AQ office. So that would be the better office to get the questions from.
Perfect. Perfect.
I saw a question pop up here about procurement ready. Or comment about what did I mean by procurement ready. And when I say procurement ready, this is where I go back to the Apex accelerators, who, if you're a small business, starting with them, they know exactly what we need, what we, being the Department of the Air Force, Space and Air, need in order ready for you to be a business ready to do business with us, if that is sound too confusing. And as I've mentioned, and correct me if I'm wrong, they can provide everything from as simple as the templates to your capability statement. Because as a former program manager, I'm telling you, and I'll just hold up a sheet here. The former program manager, we appreciate it when you come to us with a briefing, but a lot of times we had to keep it moving. And a capability statement is what I relied on and what we rely on. Some say one-sided. I personally say just one sheet. It can be front and back. And actually the front and back is big. Let me know, tell me who you are, category, et cetera, et cetera. And Apex Accelerators can give you the details. On the back, I like to see past performance, if you can put it on there, because that helps us, and I'm sure the Apex Accelerators will tell you the same, that helps us point you in the right direction or know better who to match you up with. So that's what I mean when I say procurement ready. And the Apex Accelerators are specialists in that area.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. And Joey, if I'm not mistaken, I think we had some prep courses Robin held talking about that, just that, in fact, issue is having that capability statement and so forth, right?
We had some prep courses leading up to this matchmaker that Robin's team put together. And then, every Apex, that's a subject that we're talking about all the time. So, wherever you're located, there's either an event or an opportunity to sit down one-on-one with your Apex counselors to really make that as incredible, for lack of a better word, as possible. Really shore up your capabilities and your approach to marketing that. So, we do have some other questions in the Q&A.
Yep.
So, kind of on the topic of procurement readiness, what recommendations do you have for small businesses that are just starting out in government contracting, but they have exceptional years of experience in the private sector? How would you recommend they find some opportunities with the Department of the Air Force?
I, I, I know this is going to sound stage, but starting with the Apex Accelerator, okay? In terms of pointing you in the right direction. You can come directly to us. It depends on where you're at. If I heard that correctly, they've been doing business out in the commercial sector, right? And want to do business with the government. Yeah, I've had a lot of businesses do come to us directly, and then this is where again your capability statement is going to be critical. And if you're not used to doing business with us, this is where the Apex Accelerator help can become very critical because they can tell you how to gear it toward the Department of Defense or the Air Force or the Navy and the Army. And so that when I look at your capability statement, I see what you've done in industry, but I can, again, that will help me match you up with what we need here or with requirements that we need in the Department of Defense. And I think the Apex accelerators, well, I don't think I know, they can do the same. And that'll save you a lot of trouble when you come into one of our small business professionals like Jeff Milano or myself.
Absolutely. We can help you talk through that strategy and really craft that approach to highlight your past performance. Sir, does the Air Force require passenger transportation services?
Passenger transportation services. I'm not sure what that is. Specifically, I can take a few guesses. Can they elaborate a little bit more on that?
We'll ask them to put some more details in there, but what I will say is kind of a catch-all. We can help Apex. We can help you do the research to see who's buying what, and really drill down so that you can have those more informed conversations with the folks that you are meeting with, whether they be buyers, potential teaming partners, things of that nature too.
Yeah, and just let me piggyback on what you just said. The key words there were you can have a more informed conversation after meeting with the Apex accelerators with your small business professionals who can then better help you or point you in the right direction as well. So again, starting with those Apex accelerators. Okay.
Couple questions here on security clearances. Are they required to do work with the Air Force? Are they a strong differentiator?
That's that's a tough one. Are they required? I would say be ready to. It depends on the requirement, and be ready to either have individual security clearances or facility clearance. This has become such a big topic. Our office had to create a brochure several years ago that we connected. I think with this is who we connected. I'm not sure if we still have it or have updated in terms of where you need to be in order to do business with us. But again, Apex accelerators, that's where you start with and can help you in terms of giving you that information of being ready with respect to security, whether individually or with your facility clearances.
This one is actually a question for Apex to answer. What about cybersecurity as a small business? So, Mr. McWilliams, you might have some thoughts from the Air Force side, but I will say from an Apex Accelerator side, every state or every Apex Accelerator may have different resources that they can get you in touch with. In Ohio, we're fortunate to have a program that can help, further your journey along the cybersecurity pathway. But MEPs are a resource throughout many states. Apex accelerators are usually tapped in as well. So yeah, we can definitely get you connected to the right resources.
Yeah, and then let me add to that, and this is going to sound flippant, but that's not the intent. And I've said this before when a company asked me about cybersecurity. I have different companies come to me and say, we do cybersecurity. What do you need? And I turn around and I say, you and 15 others. Okay. So my point is if you providing cybersecurity, be ready to explain specifically what capability you can provide. But as Scott was saying, know what our requirements are in terms of what we need, and then bring that to the table on what you can provide in terms of cybersecurity. Now, becoming ready in terms of cybersecurity requirements, there's a lot of resources out there, a lot of free resources on the government side that you can take advantage of. And Apex, I'll leave that to the Apex accelerators, can help point you in that direction in terms of being ready to provide cybersecurity support.
Absolutely. Project Spectrum is a big one. I know DAU has the blue cyber stuff, so yeah, we can definitely get you to the right resources. Couple more questions, sir, and then I'll turn back over to Anna for any more in the chat. But and this is a very high level question. It might be better served for the SBIR panel later on this morning. But does the Air Force have an interest in developing hypersonic vehicles? Are there any funding opportunities for that kind of research and development, if so?
Better question for the Silver Center panel. I could answer it, but you need to hear directly from the source.
Appreciate it.
It's a good question.
I also just gave them Brian McJilton's email address that they could reach out to as well, since he's working in those areas through AFRL.
One question here about security clearances. So, do we need a referral first, or can we pursue this ourselves? Generally, to get a security clearance, even get that request, and it has to be from that agency that you have a contract with, or a prime contractor has to sponsor you. But, sir, could you talk a little bit more about that?
Well, no, I think you answered it. And then I saw Jeff Malott chimed in too and said it's just going to depend on the requirement. Okay, so it's going to depend on the requirement. That's the best I can give you here. You got to talk to the specific program, talk to the small business professional in that area, and then they can give you the particulars, because they vary from program to program. It's a good question, don't get me wrong, but it depends on the requirement of the program.
Absolutely. Anna, do we have some more chat questions?
There's a whole lot going on in the chat right now. Let's see. I think you guys, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, and as we go along, I hope if you can capture those questions, and then we can provide back if we run out of time here in writing as well. Okay.
I think we can, right, Joey?
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's wonderful. We can do that. I know there were people asking about how to find your Apex accelerator. I did put the Apex link in the chat. It'll take you to the DoD OSBP page, Apex accelerator page. Scroll down to the map. Certainly, you can always just reach out to one of us directly. I'll put my name in the chat as well, and we can make sure that you're guided to the correct Apex accelerator. Let's see, what else do we have? Small business direct. Oh, I think this is Jeff's yes, Jeff did give a very detailed answer regarding architecture and architectural and engineering, and who acquires it at the Air Force enterprise level, and down at Mission Support Center at Joint Base San Antonio. Greg Santiago is the small business director there and team member, Terry Bashore. So that's great. Also the email address. Let's see, who else?
The advantage of reaching out to a small business professionals in the direction.
That's right. Perfect. Somebody was asking about staffing and IT consulting services. And again, you're based out of, I'm not sure where in New York you're based out of, Jay. You're the one answering the question. But again, I'll put my email in there, and we'll make sure you connect with the appropriate Apex accelerator. There's just so many of these in here. Lorenzo did put in the workflow email address for DAF Small Business Inquiries at Outlook.com. So again, that's DAF, which is Department of Air Force. And I love asking this question, Mr. McWilliams. So when you refer to DAF, who are we talking about versus Air Force, right? There's a little bit of difference there.
Yeah, space. Years ago, several years ago, when we stood up space, like I said, I actually briefed the stand-up of the office. And then at the senior levels, of course, the decision was made until space breaks out on their own, they fall under the Department of the Air Force. So we went with the Department of the Air Force. And anytime we say DAF now, it's referring to both air and space.
Very good. I think that's real important for people
It's
to
like
know.
the Department of the Navy, Navy and Marines.
Is Navy and Marines, correct, correct. And Lorenzo has also popped in the website for Air Force Small Business, which is great. And they can help find small business areas in there. Let me see.
And don't forget our expiring contracts list out there as well.
Yes, and I think they can find it at that link that Lorenzo put in there. Very important. And to the small businesses that are out there, all this information is for you to start a roadmap. Okay. We call us Apex Accelerators, call doing business with the government, any particular government agency, particular the military. It's the long game. Okay. You got to build that trusting relationship. You've got to understand the purchasing processes that happen. And, sometimes the stars align and you are going to get a contract really quick, but that's not always the realistic case. And even it's that way working with even say the Air Force's large prime contractors too. It's years in the making of building these relationships, building that trust and making sure that skill matches up with the need. Would you say so? Yeah.
Let me say this too. I like to tell this story as long as I've been in this office. Again, if you've had me in matchmaking sessions before or crossed paths with me, I've probably given you the same message over and over again. And there's a reason for that, because I still get asked today, and I emphasize to do your homework. No, I cannot give you a contract because you lost the last one. I cannot just give you. So you got to know how we do business, understand how we do business. I've been threatened to be sued because I refused to give a contract. But again, it's important that you understand who we are and how we operate, know how we do business, and that way our small business professionals can better help and guide you as well as the Apex Accelerators. Once you understand how we do business. Over.
Thank you very much. And let's see, Joey, I think we're trying to get the right link in. Somebody asked about the expiring contracts link, and we're trying to get that in there. Joey, do we have any more questions in the Q&A?
On the expiring contract, excuse me. Lorenzo provided the website. I think you just go to the website and you'll see the connection there to the expiring contracts.
Thank you very much. So please scroll up and check out Lorenzo's response. And Lorenzo did just explain it's on the main page.
Yeah.
And there's a tab.
This is Lorenzo. Hello, everyone. Just want to explain. We have from the expiring contracts, it's on the main page. So when you click on that site, on the main page, it's a photo. It says expiring contracts. One click and you're in there. That's one of the updates that Mr. McWilliams was speaking about, that you only have a one-click solution. It's a photo that says expiring contracts. You click on it and there's hundreds of opportunities you can look at, including your NAICS code and how you can filter down on those. They have a PDF version and a Excel version where you can actually go through, open with hundreds of opportunities. Just wanted to put that in there so you can know this available and this easy access for you.
And let me emphasize, there's no guarantees with that, and you don't know if a contract expires, if it will be a follow-on or funded. The idea is that they're there. You can contact us. We can try to put you in touch with the right office, and then you can go from there, finding out, is that contract going to be recompeted, funded, etc. So.
Excellent. Any, Joey, it looks like we've got 1 minute left, right?
Yes, so there's a couple questions in the Q&A. They're a little specific, so I will just kind of summarize and answer to address both of them as please reach out to your local Apex Accelerator. If you're new to government contracting, they can really help you get situated, build out that strategy, and then we can also help you really dig into the research, see who's buying your services, especially if you have a niche service like motivational speaking or HR, things of that nature. It's not always a contract. Sometimes it's a credit card purchase. Sometimes there's a different way to approaching it. So we can really help you dive into the research, build that strategy to best go after your market. So with that, Anna, I'll let you kind of close us out here.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much, Joy. And a sincere thank you to the Air Force, and specifically to Deputy Director McWilliams for joining us today. Anything further you'd like to add, Mr. McWilliams? And we greatly appreciate all the support from the Air Force.
No, nothing more to add. A lot of good questions. Do not hesitate to, if you guys either want to send additional questions to us that I'll have the team answer, or I think Lorenzo gave a workflow address. That's where inquiries come in, and I have the team answer those questions back out. So I appreciate it. Appreciate the invitation. And again, on behalf of our director, Mr. Scott Kaiser, and shout out to Jeff and his team for helping facilitate our involvement here. By the way, how important you are. I'm going traveling this Friday to another Apex Accelerated event to take part of next week. So that's how critical Apex Accelerators are. Over.
Thank you, sir.